Hi everyone, thanks for joining us this morning. Let's wait for everyone to stroll in first before we get started in maybe about a minute or two. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, let's wait maybe about a minute till we get started. Yes, you guys will get the webinar link yesterday and for all the previous webinars, including today's. Okay, yeah, maybe we can get started first. Anyway, this session will be recorded. So good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us again today. So welcome to our sourcing from Vietnam and Amazon.com top selection series. I am Ethan, account manager at Amazon Global Selling, covering our North American marketplaces. Together with me in this session, we have Jim, founder of Cosmo Sourcing, who will share with you some tips to sourcing in Vietnam. Yeah. So do take note that this session will be recorded. We will be sending you a follow-up email after this webinar with the recording link so that you'll be able to watch the session again on demand. If you have any question, feel free to jot them down in the Q&A box and my colleague Jess will assist to answer it throughout this session. So let's get started. Okay. So for today's session, we'll walk you through the basics from introduction to Amazon Global Selling and cross-border e-commerce, and I will touch more on the benefits and tools and programs for Amazon sellers such as FBA, brand owner tools, and Amazon advertising, because these are some of the tools that you guys want to get to know more of. And also, then I'll move on to global consumer trends, and I'll talk about some of Amazon bestseller, which is the top selections on Amazon.com, before I pass on my time to Jim to talk about sourcing from Vietnam. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so Amazon Global Selling is one of Amazon business unit that help businesses from everywhere in the world to launch a global business, reaching Amazon customers around the world and building international brands. So you can sell anywhere around the world with Amazon, from North America, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. So do take note that my team focus on sellers selling in the North American marketplace, which includes US, Canada, and Mexico. So firstly, Amazon has a global footprint, worldwide customer base. We have physical presence in about 20 over countries. We have marketplaces there. There are over 300 million worldwide active customer accounts with over 200 million over Prime members. Amazon also has leading logistic infrastructures, which helps for people who are in the FBA program, which I'll be going through in a bit. And this helps sellers like yourself deliver products to customers in over 200 countries and territories. Yep. And lastly, Amazon is always adding tools and also investing in marketing dollars to help sellers like yourself scale. In 2020 alone, Amazon released more than 225 tools and also services to help sellers manage your Amazon businesses. So just let me take you through the benefits, tools, and programs for Amazon sellers. Firstly, fulfillment by Amazon. Okay, so how do you deliver your products? There are two main ways of how you can fulfill your orders to your customers. So the first option will be fulfillment by merchant, meaning you will need to fulfill your orders by yourself. As you can see from the table, as a seller, if you decide to fulfill the order by yourself, you will need to prepare each order. You'll need to answer customers' queries in their own local language within 24 hours. You'll also need to provide customers a return address information in the US. Whereas on the other hand, option 2 for fulfillment by Amazon, Amazon actually help you process your order, pick, pack, and ship it to your customer. Amazon will also help you answer all customer queries on your behalf, and lastly, help you manage all the return and exchange processes for you. So as you can see, by using FBA, you can scale up your business quickly. So running a business is already hard enough. So just let Amazon do the heavy lifting for you, the manual work that takes up your precious time. So I would say to my sellers, it's almost equivalent to having like a logistic person sitting in the US helping you handle all of this. So here are the 6 key benefits of using FBA. Firstly, you can save on fulfillment costs by shipping in bulk. Secondly, you can reach out to millions of Prime members. Thirdly, you can increase product visibility and conversion with the Prime badge. So as mentioned, we have over 200 million Prime members, and some of them like to shop with product that has the Prime badge because they know that they'll be able to receive their goods maybe within 1 to 2 days, depending on which state they are in. And also, fourth, Amazon, of course, we handle the last mile delivery on your behalf. Fifth, as mentioned, there will be 24/7 customer support in local languages. So let's say if you wish to expand your business within North America to sell in Mexico, they'll be able to help you answer to queries in local languages. And lastly, Amazon handles all the customer returns and exchanges on your behalf, so you don't have to further liaise with the customer to send it back to Singapore. Let's say if you're based in Singapore, and handle all the nitty-gritty details by yourself. And next, so why should you expand your brand cross-border? And here are some interesting insights I would like to share. So one of the survey actually found that 50% of overseas consumers choose familiar brands when spending, similar to consumers on Amazon. And branded products are quickly remembered by consumers, which in turn also help you cultivate brand loyalty of customer, which also result in repeat purchases. Also, researchers have also shown that 80% of customers discover new brands and products on Amazon, where 50% of US consumers have been more willing to discover new brands than before the pandemic. In an internal study, we also found that brand owners typically increase sales 1.5 times faster than other sellers on average. So on Amazon, sales volume grow faster for brand owners, and consumers also trust brands more on Amazon. So let's say if you're a brand owner, it allows yourself to receive more orders and also helps to increase brand and product awareness amongst customers. So to help brand owners scale and protect your business on Amazon, so what does brand owner means? It means that you have a trademark that you registered with eligible trademark offices across the world. If you have that, especially if you have a US trademark, you can enroll in Amazon Brand Registry. So this program has been launched in 2017, a free service from Amazon that helps businesses protect your intellectual property and create an accurate, trusted experience for customers on Amazon. So if you have big ideas, it's unsurprising that people might want to copy them. So competitors on Amazon, they might even try to replicate your product, but do take note that if you have a trademark, they can't replicate your brand as well. So protecting your brand is also equivalent to protecting your product and also your sales on Amazon. And Amazon take this seriously. If you're a brand owner with a US trademark, brand protection programs is also available through Brand Registry that allows to help you directly identify and flag counterfeit products on every Amazon marketplace in the world in real time. So here are some of the protection programs that Amazon have developed. automated brand protection to proactively identify and remove suspected infringements automatically even before you discover them. Secondly, the report a violation tool for brands. So let's say if you see a counterfeit product on Amazon.com, you can actually use this tool to report the infringement, and Amazon will assist to take down the listing if it's really a counterfeit. Thirdly, there's an Amazon IP Accelerator program. So let's say if you do not have a US trademark already, you can leverage on this program and connect with a trusted network of IP law firms that will be able to help provide you with high quality trademark registration at a really competitive rate. And also we do have transparency, which is an item level product serialization service that helps to identify products and also help you prevent counterfeit against your product listing. So what this does is there will be a QR code for you to input on your product itself. So when customer receive their product, they'll be able to scan to ensure that this is an authentic product. If it's scannable and it leads to an information page where you have put in all your manufacturer details and stuff, it's an authentic product. And lastly, we have Project Zero, a new program that also helps to empower brands to partner with Amazon to drive counterfeits to zero. And this gives brands or brand owner like yourself unprecedented power to remove suspected counterfeit from our store yourself. So not only does brand registry ensure your brand is protected, but there are also several programs designed to give you more control over your brand, gain insight into your brand on Amazon, and also reach more customers and sell more products. So these are all exclusive to brand owners selling on Amazon stores. Brand registry also gives you access to a suite of tools over here, A+ content, stores, Amazon brand analytics, and also sponsored brands. So depending on your relationship with the brand, you will have access, or if not, to all or some of the tools. So now let me quickly cover Amazon advertising and take a closer look at the self-service advertising solutions available. So Amazon advertising features a series of cost per click solution that lets you target by keyword or product to help increase the visibility of individual products you are selling. So these ads appear to customers in search results and on product detail pages. And when you click, these ads actually link straight to your product listing to help you drive sales. So getting started with Amazon advertising is really quick and easy. The creatives for your advertisement are auto-generated based on your product listing. So if you have already listed your product, they'll automatically take the main image to use it to as a creative for Amazon advertising campaigns. So if you're a seller enrolled into Amazon brand registry, there are more solutions available, such as sponsored brands, sponsored brand videos, and sponsored display. Otherwise, if you do not have a trademark, you will only have access to advertising to sponsored product. So through all this advertising product, of course, you'll be able to help shoppers discover and engage with your brand across the various touch points on and even off Amazon.com. So these ads can feature your logo, customized headline, a collection of your product, and even your brand video. Because these ads may include many branded elements, they can also help to brand owners like yourself improve brand awareness and also recall. You can customize your ads and show new product releases and also surface different product combinations. So for instance, when a shopper click on your sponsored brand ad, you have the choice to either link them to a landing page featuring a collection of your product or to your store directly. So by taking the second approach, you'll have the chance to engage them with your brand story and product selection in an immersive setting. So to summarize, these are 3 key benefits. So firstly, Amazon advertising solutions are really flexible, responsive and easy, not just to launch, but also you will be able to adjust at every stage of your advertising. So you actually don't need any previous advertising experience to use them, because you can actually leverage on our automatic advertising campaign tool for you to kickstart your advertising. So, and also, for instance, like sponsored ads, it will be able to help you improve your visibility and also opportunity to get your listing up to page 1 of your search result and reach high intent customers. So this can also help to increase in sales, since you'll be delivering highly relevant ads to customers who are shopping for your products, similar to yours as well, and are motivated to make a purchase. And lastly, our advertising console also provides clear reporting. There are a range of insights from downloadable reports to new to brand matrix, and they are all set up to help you understand how your ads are performing at any time, giving you full awareness into your advertising. And there you can identify strategies that are performing to your goals versus those that aren't, and make further optimization based on that. So here are just some anecdotes that we have from our local sellers, Naoki Matcha, Pristine Aroma, and Ray Smith, all of which they have managed to find success while selling on Amazon, and they have since expanded globally to many other marketplaces such as the EU5, UK, and Middle Eastern marketplaces. So now that we have a better understanding of the Amazon global selling, I would like to take you through some of the key global consumer trends that is affecting the e-commerce landscape. So with the accelerated shift into shopping online, e-commerce also continues to gain momentum. The e-commerce penetration rate in the US is also projected to reach 85% by 2024. This is also supported by the fact that visits to global e-commerce websites continue to surge to new highs repeatedly. And the pandemic has also redefined consumer behavior, and these are the three key trends. E-commerce sales also continues to experience outsized growth, with online penetration remaining approximately 35% above pre-COVID-19 levels, and e-commerce showing more than 40% growth over the past 12 months. At the same time, brick and mortar spending on retail categories has stayed relatively consistent during this whole period. Secondly, loyalty shakeup continues. Value is the main reason consumers have been switching brands since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, and consumers are again adjusting their behavior as the economy reopens. As many as 30 to 40% of consumers continue to switch brands or retailers, driven primarily by younger consumers seeking value, combined with greater emphasis on purpose-driven alignment and quality. And also thirdly, homebody economy persists. Consumers and employers are also adjusting to the next normal in remote working models. So in addition to increasingly hybrid work models, we also continue to see a corresponding shift in purchases and investment focused on home-based working and living. We also expect to see this trend continue in the medium term. 32% work more from home, changed job, or went back to school. So these are the top 3 factors affecting a customer's purchase decision to purchase online. So firstly, it will be competitive price, free delivery, and product variety. So similarly, these are the 3 key characteristics that Amazon upholds to our customers. So through Amazon Prime members also enjoy free 2-day shipping, and we also continue to expand our selection and offer customers product at competitive prices. So we also witnessed a growth in e-commerce sales across major categories, with food and beverage being the highest. So now that we have covered the global retail trends, here are the Amazon bestsellers. There are 4 key trends affecting the best-selling product trends on Amazon due to increased staying at home, sales across home supplies, kitchenware, garden supplies, tools, pets and supplies, home decor and toys have also increased. Work from home trends have also increased the demand for office supplies, electronic products, wireless devices, and more. There have also been an increase in consciousness over health and personal care, with the rise in indoor fitness and personal wellness products. And despite these 3 trends, the demand for outdoor products should not be overlooked, as situation might get better slowly and people are starting to open up and purchase outdoor equipment to go out there. So for example, outdoor shoes, sports, and auto parts are some of the best sellers on Amazon. So in terms of top performing categories on Amazon, consumer electronics and toys demonstrated strong performance. It's also interesting to note that online retail of auto parts is emerging as a promising category. So on top of the categories I've just brought up, one of the trends we have observed lately is that as in-person gatherings start to make a comeback, interest in entertainment-related items, beauty products, and formal wear has increased. Amazon Wedding Registry gift giving has more than doubled this year compared to 2020. Event and party supply sales more than doubled year over year as of April 2021, with tableware and party decorations amongst the top selling product categories. Outdoor furniture sales nearly doubled year over year as of the first quarter of 2021, with trending topics including lounge, deep sitting chairs, and also outside dining and bar tables. Grilling product sales are also up 70% year on year. So as mentioned, as more US states reopen to visitors, travel is also on the brain. Shopping trends show that customers are gearing up to get out of the house and explore again. Luggage sales are up more than 460% year over year. Swimwear sales have more than doubled over year as of March and April 2021. And sunscreen bronzer sales increased 70% year over year as of April 2021. So cases for consumer electronics are also up 86% year over year as of April 2021. In fact, it was the second best-selling subcategory for consumer electronics. Car seat sales are also up by 70% and sales of strollers are also up by 50% year over year. Again, I've covered this many times in previous webinars. Some selection resources will definitely include our bestseller pages on Amazon. So do visit our bestseller, hot new releases, movers and shakers, most wished for, most gifted pages for inspiration. For example, our bestsellers are our most popular product based on sales updated hourly. Movers and shakers refer to our biggest gainers in sales rank over the past 24 hours, updated hourly. The most wished for and most gifted categories are updated daily according to the product most often added to wish list. And lastly, most popular products of order as gifts. So here are some best practices that sellers have typically done to adapt to some of these changes. They are also, firstly, they are rapid adjustment to product selection strategy. For example, responding to the demand for essential products and products that meet the new lifestyle of customers. Quick responses towards supply chain, innovative logistics solution, having an agile business model, and not to forget diversified digital marketing to drive traffic to Amazon listing within and outside of Amazon. So with that, I also want to remind you guys that all this data can also be found in third-party data platforms such as Statista. So do your research before finding out what product selection you want to bring in. If you wish to know more about selection methodology, we'll be sending the link to our very first webinar on that in the follow-up email. So do look through that, go through our methodology model, and after that, decide on which product you'll finally want to bring into Amazon. And lastly, we have covered so many product opportunities and categories for your next product launch on Amazon. So what's next and how do you go about navigating all these trends? There are many ways to approach your product selection methodology. You can follow trends. You can adopt a supply chain driven selection method where you may have a connection with suppliers in specific categories. You may choose to focus on seasonal products and also a profit focused selection method through thorough calculations, or also a data-driven selection method by deep diving into specific keywords and trending searches on Amazon. You may use one method or even a combination of all these methods, but there is no hard and fast way to product selection. And also with all these tips, I would like to conclude my presentation. And now let me pass over my time to Jim, who will go through the more exciting part of today's session, which is sourcing from Vietnam. Over to you, Jim.
Great. Hey, everybody. Hope you all found that informative. Let me go turn on my slide. Great. And we're going to start. All right, great. Hey, everybody, my name is Jim. I'll be talking about sourcing from Vietnam and kind of strategies and how to find manufacturers in Vietnam. I'm not sure. I know there's probably a mix of people who have already sourced before and some that have never sourced before. So I'll try to kind of balance it between the two. So a little bit about myself. I'm Jim Kinnemer. I'm the founder and managing director of Cosmos Sourcing. I moved to China in 2012 and started sourcing from China then. And in and I started a company called Hartford Outdoors that kind of focuses on both selling on Amazon as well as sourcing outdoor goods. So I do have experience with FBA as well, so I do understand the whole process of sourcing and getting into a warehouse. In 2013, I renamed it Cosmos Sourcing to become a general sourcing company. So we decided to source everything. And in 2014, I moved to Vietnam and started focusing on Vietnam sourcing. So I've been at this a little bit too long, it seems like. So we'll cover kind of Vietnam's economy, kind of the overall market of what you can source from Vietnam. Vietnam it's smaller than China. It's still a mid-sized country, but it is limited in what you can source. It's unfortunately not a one-stop shop. Resources find suppliers in Vietnam and how COVID-19 and this supply chain issues have affected Vietnam. So just a little bit about the numbers. It has a population of 93 million, which is about 1/15 the size of China. So it is a little bit smaller, a GDP of 202 billion. It is one of the fastest growing countries in the world, with a growth rate of 8.5% in 2019. I am using pre-COVID numbers because COVID just kind of messed everything up. Yeah, and right now it has 54 million people in employment and one of the largest labor force participation rates. And it's actually a very much an export-focused economy. It actually exports over 207 billion, which is more than the GDP. So they actually export a significant amount per the capita. So it is very much focused on export. So we have worked on several projects, kind of covering a wide variety of topic categories in Vietnam. We've worked a lot in furniture. That's one of our most common categories, is furniture. We helped a company move their manufacturing from China to Vietnam. So we actually did find cost savings there. And yeah, it was kind of a complex product. It was a pretty unique product. So it was a large amount of customizations, including certain both metal and wooden parts. So yeah, we were able to find a supplier for that. I think Vietnam was a good place for it. And we also helped a major packaging company move several different product lines to Vietnam. So like in that case, like they were able to have everything from cardboard to plastic packaging and several others. And so yeah, it's pretty good. So there's really 3 different ways to view Vietnam sourcing. Like we said, once you're kind of looking for a supplier, you kind of want to develop a sourcing strategy. The first one is Vietnam as primary sourcing destination. That means you pretty much just focus on Vietnam, go straight forward. You kind of figured out that your product is a good fit for Vietnam, and we'll cover those products later. And so you kind of focus in on kind of go that. Vietnam as a backup destination. A lot of people, just for various reasons, want to have source from multiple countries and have contacts at least in multiple countries just to have a more robust supply chain. This kind of come true in the last few years with supply chains going in chaos and with kind of COVID shutting down some countries and shutting down factories in one country, as well as costs going up from shipping from other countries. So a lot of people are actually using a multi-country sourcing strategy now more than ever. And so it's not uncommon for us to kind of help with both the China and Vietnam aspect of that. And Vietnam plus China dual sourcing is kind of the same concept as before, but kind of picking one or the other be the primary sourcing destination, and then the others be your secondary backup destination if things get messed up. So when you are looking at sourcing for China, there are a few mistakes that people make. Vietnam is different from China, in that you are going to be limited by the amount of suppliers. You kind of need to really be careful to make sure that what they do offer. The personality of the people is a little bit different. They are a little bit more direct. There's also less room to negotiate in Vietnam. From my experience, Vietnamese factories do give you it's closer to true price. There's some room to negotiate than China. So a lot of people kind of go into the first quote, expect to discount as much as 50%, and it's just not possible. And a lot of clients have sourced it from China before, already have a product for sale on Amazon. They've been doing this for years. And so they kind of had the expectation that when they move to Vietnam, they're going to the exact product in Vietnam that they did in China, which just because they have different equipment, different manufacturing, different supply chain and raw materials, you're going to have some differences. So you do kind of need to expect that you're going to get a different product when you source from China. That's not to say it's going to be as bad or worse quality. It's going to be comparable in terms of quality, but there are going to be differences. and then not understanding the culture. It's not too radically different, but I think a lot of people do kind of find that with Vietnamese factories, for instance, they often have engineers as the salespeople instead of actually dedicated salespeople who speak fluent English. So when you're talking to an engineer, a lot of times it's not their primary job for sales. So they're going to be pretty direct a lot of times, give you just straight answers. Just because they don't sound enthusiastic doesn't mean they don't want your business. So I do know that has turned a lot of people off from Vietnam sourcing, but it's something to keep in mind with it. That's probably the biggest single one. Any of your visiting factories, which right now not too many people are doing, to be honest, due to COVID travel restrictions, they don't really, like in China, I get wined and dine when I go. But in Vietnam, it's pretty straightforward factory visits, kind of pretty much straight to business. So should you move to your manufacturing in Vietnam? This really is kind of the $1 million question for a lot of people. And so let's find out. I think honestly, most people's concern with Vietnam is cost. So I know we were talking a lot about North American selling. There are tariffs from China into North America. Vietnam does not have these tariffs, so you do get a discount there, just kind of off the bat. But you still need to ask yourself, will your product be cheaper with or without tariffs? Because it's hard to say how long these tariffs will last. Although they have lasted years at this point. And so from our experience, Vietnam used to be a lot cheaper than China, or a lot of other destinations, but actually in the last few years with increased demand in Vietnam, costs have gone up pretty drastically, to the point that I would say they have caught up in a lot of regards. Another one is, will it be the same or better quality in Vietnam? We work a lot with clothing. We work a lot with furniture. We bags, luggage, handbags. We do a lot of metal work, and we do lots of shoes projects. So in those categories, I'm pretty confident to say that Vietnam does have excellent quality. You will get excellent products from the country, from Vietnam. So for those cases, but a lot of other products, they're not as competent in. They don't have the most state-of-the-art equipment in some ways. And so, like for instance, I would say plastic too a little bit. We've done some rubber products, and they just don't have the same equipment that they do elsewhere. So you sometimes will get lesser quality in other categories. Lead time important. I will say that China is a little bit slower than elsewhere. So a lot of times, if you're a patient supplier and you're willing to wait a little bit, it's perfectly fine to go with Vietnam, but do expect delays. You're going to probably see about the actual manufacturing time take a little bit longer, not drastically so. I say at most 20% longer. And for shipping, I do oftentimes expect another week or two for shipments once the product's done to actually be shipped into the FBA warehouse or into the destination. How that has to do with Vietnam having not the best, it's not bad, but it's not the best infrastructure. So there are delays. The ports often get congested. And so that is kind of an issue that a lot of times we do have, and have to kind of be clear. And just with our quotation phase and sourcing phase, it does take a lot longer too. And are you willing to commit long term? This is true wherever you source. When you source, you need to find somebody you want to have as a partner. Like I know everybody here is looking at starting a business. They want to have a supplier that they can trust for years and years. You should always, if you start a business, you should assume that's going to be successful years and plan accordingly. So it really is an important step to actually find a partner in your factory. And so you really do want to have somebody that's comfortable. And so no matter where you source, make sure that it's somebody that you trust and you can have that relationship with. And you can do that in Vietnam, obviously. I helped dozens, if not hundreds of clients do that. So it's definitely something that's doable. But if you are talking to multiple factories from multiple countries, go with your gut most of the time and just go with the one you really want to commit long term, because this is going to be something that hopefully, if your business takes off, will be a partnership. There are a lot of pros for Vietnam. Vietnam is very aggressive about negotiating free trade agreements. One cool thing is they have free trade agreements with Japan, South Korea. They're a member of ASEAN, the Associated Southeast Asian Nations, and free trade agreements negotiating with EU, and they have bilateral trade agreements with the United States and a few other countries. One of the great things about the free trade agreements they have, for instance, is with Japan and South Korea, for instance, they those countries can directly own factories in Vietnam. So we've worked with some Precision Metals that are, it's a Japanese factory, so it's all Japanese management, Japanese engineers, and then the Vietnamese workforce, which is young and skilled and relatively cost effective. So you actually get the best of Japanese management and expertise and the cost savings that you would get in Vietnam. So it's very high quality at a good price with a lot of times. Young skilled labor force. Vietnam does have one of the youngest labor forces in the world. I think average age is 26 or 28. So as a result, you actually get a lot of people that are technically skilled, well educated, and can do pretty complex things, complex engineering, a lot of goods. We do a lot of technical. By technical, I mean like technical fabrics and advanced stitching methods, for instance, for bags and clothing. There's a lot of shoe manufacturing, which shoes are actually pretty complex, but they're pretty good. Generally cheaper. I did mention that costs are going up, so I can't say it's cheaper always, but I will say we very often get cost savings and less bureaucracy. Vietnam's very much in the we want business mindset, so they are very much and letting new factories open up pretty quickly and easily. Factories expand. There's not too much bureaucracy in terms of getting goods in and out of the country, which is great. So we actually do import a lot from other countries, like components. Overall, it's easier to do in terms of that. Can't really comment too much on other countries since I'm trying to focus on Vietnam, but there are a few cons, so negatives for Vietnam. Infrastructure, like I mentioned earlier, the roads are not as developed. They're very congested in a lot of ways. There's not a rail system throughout the country. There is, but it's very, very old, like 50 years old. The ports do congested. Electricity brownouts are less common now, but brownouts and blackouts are less common, but there are sometimes factories which shut down for a day or two, especially in the rainy season for rain and flooding from the rainy season. Vietnam does have a very strong rainy season. It's not a one-stop shop. We'll cover on what they can and can't do, but like we said, if you source from China before, you know you can get anything and everything at any price and any quantity and any color. Unfortunately, it's not like that in Vietnam. So you do have to be selective on what products you do source. Access to raw materials. We do import a lot of raw materials and components from overseas or from elsewhere, most often China. So a lot of times when you are making a product, let's say you're making a backpack, for instance, and you want like a special handle or special buckles or zippers or whatnot. And once you place the order for the purchase order, you oftentimes will have to wait a few weeks, up to 6 weeks, for instance, for them to actually order those components from China and have them shipped to the factory in Vietnam. Nonetheless, it's very common to do. Factories in China or Vietnam tend to already have done similar products, already have existing connections with factories in China, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, elsewhere that actually can import those products, and they give you suggestions. And there are tons of wholesalers in Vietnam that kind of handle bulk orders as well and kind of handle the scale of that. Scalability, the MOQs in Vietnam tend to be higher than elsewhere. It's hard to say exact amount, but like for instance, if we're doing furniture, I would say at least 500 units to 1,000. Anytime we do clothing or shoes, I really strongly recommend at least 2,000 units MOQ for your, and that's for the initial order, unfortunately, to actually get the products made. They unfortunately kind of don't take smaller orders. This is becoming less true because as demand for Vietnamese factories and goods kind of increases in the last few years, the Vietnamese factories have become much more selective. So they unfortunately do pass on small orders, which I know a lot of you have the mindset of, oh, I want to start with 100 units just to do a test order, test the market, which is a smart business strategy, by the way. But it's when you're in Vietnam, they see that and they just unfortunately more or less ignore you. I hate to say it. It's just the truth. I just gotta be realistic. It's probably I think that's the high MOQs is probably one of the biggest frustrations and one of the biggest barriers to a lot of small startups from sourcing from Vietnam. Our Joe's in Vietnam. Like I said, trying to think of a good challenge. I mean, we have had challenges in the past getting products made. Obviously, COVID has been challenging, and Vietnam did up until recently. They were adopting a no COVID policy, so in the last few years, they would shut down entire provinces for weeks at a time, just after a single case. But even beyond that, like we've dealt some with rainy season, like we have had factories flood, um, which sucked, which I hated. It was an unfortunate incident. And we've had issues, but ultimately, I think it's been better. But I mean, in terms of successes, we have helped. We've seen many clients have successes sourcing from Vietnam for all different products. Like we've helped clients start new shoe brands. We've seen people do new handbags, new luggage, new clothing lines, new furniture lines, all from Vietnam. So it's definitely a great place because they do see significant cost savings. A lot of success too, like wooden goods are quite successful just because Vietnam does have good high quality tropical hardwood naturally, and they have awesome member of ASEAN, so they can import from other countries. And so you actually get excellent cost savings for good wooden goods and bamboo goods. We do a lot of those products. Sorry, there was a little bit dry. So what products are made in Vietnam? Like I said, we do tons of furniture projects, especially wooden furniture products. Clothing, garments, and textiles, really anything cut and sew. It's a huge category, but anything cut and sew can be made in Vietnam. And we've done everything from high-end athletic wears to cheap t-shirts, hoodies, formal suits, dresses. Honestly, quite frankly, anything that's cut and sew, they're excellent at. Footwear, shoes. Vietnam is the largest exporter of shoes in the world. They make over 2 billion pairs of shoes a year. So they're number one. We work with a lot of startup shoe brands that have made shoes. So if you're looking at anything from flip-flops to leather sandals, ballerina slippers, those are all products, hiking shoes, sneakers. So those are all products we've done. Plastic's honestly pretty comparable in terms of quality, but Vietnam does have a lot of plastic injection molding factories to make components. Rubber goods, this includes silicone as well, is pretty good. I put seafood. Honestly, you're probably not going to sell seafood on Amazon, but they are one of the largest exporters of seafood in the world. Packaging, like we said, we have worked a lot with cardboard boxes on other packaging to do pretty customized high-end packaging before. So we do tons. I actually do that. Wooden goods of all kinds. And this is everything from bowls, bamboo, trinkets, stuff like that are great. Metal products, like we said, we did pretty much all types of metal products, everything from highway barriers to metal picnic tables to industrial shelving to precision auto parts and aircraft part one time. Electronics is really interesting because I actually do not recommend sourcing electronics from Vietnam. So it's not good in that way, but they actually do make tons of electronics. Samsung makes their entire Galaxy line of phones in Vietnam. LG makes all their TVs in Vietnam. Canon makes all their cameras in Vietnam. These AirPods I'm wearing right now are made in Vietnam. But unfortunately, those are pretty large factories with pretty large clients who can handle the backend supply chain. So, but in terms of OEM electronics, we've looked, it's not a good start for basic small items, unfortunately. We have done construction materials before, and that includes everything from sheetrocks, threaded rods, HVAC systems, and more. Consumer goods of all time, plush toys, for instance, and coffee. Vietnam's second largest exporter of coffee, but frankly, we don't deal too much with perishable goods, so can't comment too much more on that. Like I said, Vietnam has been trusted by many companies already. Patagonia, North Face, Nike, Adidas, IKEA, and Samsung all pretty much use Vietnam as their primary sourcing destination. So it can make excellent products. And yeah. So there are a handful of, so Vietnam's interesting. Alibaba does exist in Vietnam, but it's not very popular among manufacturers. And frankly, Vietnamese factories don't really, I hate to say it, but they're not too tech savvy when it comes to like promoting themselves. I would honestly say the number one and number two best resources to find factories is Google. Just Google is not blocked in Vietnam, so it's free to use. And the Yellow Pages actually, in terms of actually looking at factory names. There are a few other Alibaba alternatives that kind of expand that, like such as Vietnam Export. I list a few. Vietnam Export, VTown, Global Sources. I would say Global Sources is probably the closest alternative that's major. Vietnam Manufacturers, which is the actual name. Vietnam AZ, and a few others. But honestly, the best way isn't to contact the factories on the platform directly, is to look up the name of the factories, then kind of Google them, find their phone number or email. Or if you have WhatsApp or Zalo, Zalo. Is Zalo popular in Vietnam or Singapore? I'm not actually sure. But Zalo is actually number one messaging app in Vietnam, and that's kind of what everyone uses and what we use a lot of times to communicate directly with the factories. But find their contact information that way and kind of create RFQ and reach out by email or is the best way instead of actually using the platform. If you just want to get contacts of factories, like I said, is the best way. Most individual industries do have trade associations that are pretty active, and they will give you a straight up, just give you the name of factories that are members. They only give you names that are members, by the way, but you still get hundreds of names. Vietnam Textile and Apparel kind of covers all textile and apparel. The footwear, leather, and handbag is kind of a broad category industry association, but they do handle all those associated things I mentioned. Steel Association, they can do pretty much all steel woods, and the Handicraft and Wood Industry Association of Ho Chi Minh City. There's another one in Hanoi. Those are good resources to use to get just the names of factories. So you can actually use that to get the factory names. Trade shows in Vietnam, they are slowly coming back. There actually were a few last year, and there's several more scheduled this year. Travel restrictions are pretty strict, but we still kind of we do have associates go to them still. But yeah, they are still a thing, and you can actually oftentimes go to the trade association or the trade show's website, and they oftentimes will publish lists of vendors, and that's a good way to get some contacts. So kind of need to expand both the supply chain issues. Vietnam kind of changed their strategy a little bit in the last few months to be more control COVID, but not actually zero COVID. But this has affected factories. Actually, after Chinese New Year, or not Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, Tet holidays. Sorry, I misspoke. It's Tet holidays in Vietnam. There were outbreaks, unfortunately, because everybody went home. And so just in the last week, there are a handful of factories that we are dealing with and working on projects with that have been shut down for about a week or two after Tet due to COVID outbreaks. But right now they were pretty much shutting down whole provinces after outbreaks, but now it's more or less at a individual factory level. But they're still coming back and oftentimes still doing business. Long-term effects are kind of hard to say. Hopefully everything gets back to normal. In terms of supply chain issues, there are still congestion. Like a lot of times, like we said, we do have to order components from China or elsewhere, and those are taking longer to ship, and just shipping in general throughout the world is getting expensive, getting quite expensive. So it's more expensive than ever to ship from Vietnam, but it's actually one of the first times ever that's actually been cheaper to ship from Vietnam than it is China. But shipping prices keep fluctuating one way or the other constantly. It's maybe it's long-term thing, maybe it's not, who knows. But anyways, hope you enjoyed it. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can contact me at info@cosmosourcing.com. But I think now I'll turn it over to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Jim, for sharing all these insights. Okay, let me share my screen again.
Yeah, great.
Okay, before we move on to the Q&A segment, I have a lot of questions regarding like sourcing from Vietnam as expected.
Yeah, of course.
So
Okay.
everyone, feel free to share your feedback for us. Anything regarding the webinar, what do you want to see more from us through the short survey? So this helps us improve our content. And secondly, follow Global Selling Amazon on our Facebook page if you haven't already done so, to receive tips and advices to selling to Amazon.com. And lastly, if you wish to reach out to Jim as well, do follow the Cosmo Sourcing Facebook page. We'll be sharing all these links in the follow-up email, including Jim's email as well.
Great.
Okay, so we only have 10 minutes, so maybe let me quickly go through some of the questions. Okay, so earlier on you shared the platform links for sourcing. Are you able to share with them, and what is the best platform based on your experience?
From my experience, honestly, I gotta say Yellow Pages, yellowpages.vn. It's literally just a phone book, but you actually can sort by kind of category of the factory and actually get contacts that way. And honestly, Google. Like I said, there's not really a platform. Like
Mm.
I know most people with Alibaba, they kind of expect to go in,
Mm.
see the
Yeah.
profiles of people and message them on Alibaba itself. Well, the way we usually do it, when we use Yellow Pages, Google, or whatever, we usually get the names of the factories and then Google the names of the factories to actually get their email or phone number and then contact them directly. It's way, way, way more effective. Honestly, like I said, I wouldn't say they're not tech savvy, but it's just the way they prefer to do business is directly
Mm.
instead of through any platform. So
Mm. Okay, I think
yeah.
that helps. So the second question, some of them are asking, are there any trade insurance from sourcing in Vietnam?
I assume you're talking like Alibaba trade insurance.
Yeah, they want some form
Yeah.
of like guarantee to make sure, their product doesn't go wrong,
Yeah, I
and are they
know.
able to get a refund?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Vietnam, this is an issue. No, it's a really good question though. It's
Yeah.
going to be a bigger issue because there's not really that. So one thing we kind of always recommend doing from Vietnam is having inspections both before and after production, and then tying in your payments to the factory based on passing those inspections and use a third-party inspection service.
Mm.
There's obviously more cost involved with that.
Mm.
I like inspections about roughly $300 per inspection. Um,
Ah.
yeah, and so you're going to have to be more hands-on and more, I don't say aggressive, but more take more steps to kind of
Mm.
do that way. But yeah, we always recommend doing 30% up front, and then that payment will be paid upon successful completion of an inspection, and then 70% at the end. And then again, the inspection at the end will actually go and see the products and actually make sure, pull a few random samples out and actually check their quality. And if there's issues, then you kind of negotiate that. You should negotiate in advance. Like if there's like 10% failure rate, they just remake those 10% and then take out the failed ones. If it's higher than that, redo production. Worst case scenario, just abandon it. I hate to say it. But yeah, and 30% you want to, or with the pre-production inspection, you want to go and check their business license, check that they have equipment, check they have the raw materials on hand already. And if they are making products, kind of check the products that they're making at the moment just to see if they're comparable. Like, I don't know, if you're making like a bamboo bowl, see other bamboo products they made.
Yeah. Are there any checklists you can share, or would you recommend them to just reach out to you and you'll be able to guide them through this entire thing? Because I see that, it involves like the cost, right? How much you need to put down
Yeah.
regarding like sourcing, quality checks and everything. Would
I
it be
mean, I
better
don't
if they
have
come to you?
yeah, I mean, I don't have like a checklist per se. I kind of wrote some in the book and I have a few blog posts I could probably share. Do you have their email? Could you actually send their email? I could probably send them. I have a blog post where I kind of just take down the whole sourcing process, but they
Got
want to
it.
read
Maybe,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you could share that and we'll share it with the attendees in the follow-up email. I
Yep.
think it will help as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll do that. See one
Okay.
about English, which I don't think, yeah, I mean, most factories do, I would say most, like almost all do have at least one person that speaks some degree of English.
Yeah.
But it's not everybody. And like I kind of mentioned with the salespeople, you're often are going to talk about engineers who are don't have the best English and they're going to come across a little bit direct. I think that's
Yeah.
one thing, like when you're talking to factories, like in China, at least they're really glowing, like, oh, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. I'm so excited. When
Yeah.
you're talking to engineer, there's like, yep, we can make this. It's going to be
Mm.
X amount. But yeah, here and just pretty straightforward. And I don't know, it turns a lot
Yeah.
of people off. And they're good factories and they want to do business. It's just, I don't know, a lot of people just get turned off by it. But yeah, they do speak English, but I would say their English skills are less than China. So
Yeah, I think language is one of the key issue that some of the
yeah.
attendees also flag out, because usually most of the attendees over here, because they are from the C region, excluding the Vietnam and Thailand, they usually communicate in English. So
Yeah.
would that be a huge problem? Do they need to hire someone else
It's
to
never
be
been
the
a
middle?
huge issue. But yeah, it's going to be broken English though. But yeah, it's still English.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always try to communicate in email and text just so
Yeah.
that I don't, just from my point of view, like, I don't know how good their English. I mean, they speak English, but I assume they're going run it through Google Translate or whatever. So
Yeah.
I feel like that makes it easy on them a lot of times. So I'm very much an email
Yeah.
and text type guy when I'm actually
Okay.
doing
Yeah.
my
So it's still
communication.
possible.
Yeah, it's still possible.
Still
I'm
possible.
not an issue. I mean, we have a team there, but they all
Mm,
speak Vietnamese for me. So
yeah. Okay, let me see. Are there any MOQ for sourcing in general?
yeah, it's going to vary by product category, but yeah, like I said, that MOQs are going to be higher in Vietnam than China. Um, it's just, and this can be a little bit frustrating, but it really depends on product category. Like I would say clothing, bare minimum, it would be 500 units. And I really, really, really strongly encourage 2000 or more, because a lot of the more reputable factories, the better. I won't say better, but the more experienced factories, they kind of tend to have higher MOQs, the ones that are more export focused. So it is, well, like I said, a lot of times, a lot of clients, they want to do 100 units just to test the market and
Mm.
then place a second order that's bigger. And it's a lot of
It really
factories.
depends. Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends. But I would say there's a lot of factories that just ignore those small MOQs, and they're good factories, but
Yeah.
they're chasing the bigger
Yeah.
orders, unfortunately. And
Yeah. I think
it's a little bit frustrating. I hate it, but it's just the way it is.
yeah, I think for the attendees, firstly, they'll first need to decide what they want to sell first before
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
they further shortlist into which factory they want to reach out to and see whether they can accommodate for the MOQ. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
do the first step of selecting your product or at least the category first before you narrow down further.
Yeah, and when you do the RFQ, the request for quote, always try to have tiers of how many. The first tier is like what your true first order is going to be, and then kind of have what you hope your order is going to be next year or when your product takes off. So like I would say get an MOQ for like 500 units, 2000 units, and 10,000 units, and get quotes accordingly. Um, even though your real order that you want to place is at 500, just makes you look a little bit bigger and get more interest. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me move on to the next one. Someone is asking whether Cosmo Sourcing is able to help sellers vet through suppliers to ensure that they are reliable.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. We check their business license, we check their export history. A lot of product categories with Vietnam, it's smaller than China. So I mean, there's only so many factories that make products. So a lot of cases, like with shoes or clothing or handbags, there's about a dozen factories that I think are really high quality, and so we're pretty much we'll always talk to those dozen factories or so, and then we'll obviously reach out to new ones because there's tons of investment coming to Vietnam. A lot of Chinese factories are moving their production to Vietnam, etc. So you still always do a new search from scratch just to see who else is out there. But yeah, I mean, it's very much some cases there's the same factories are the same ones.
Yeah.
that can make it, and they're good.
Mm.
But yeah, we can definitely check
Yeah.
their authenticity and check their export history and check their business license.
Right.
Yes.
Jim, actually, there's a question from the floor directed to you. So the question goes, since China is able to offer better products, lower MOQs, better infrastructure, therefore quicker deliveries, what makes the Vietnam case compelling?
I mean, there's still a lot of cost savings to be found in Vietnam. There's less bureaucracy, so you can get products move faster that way. And right now, shipping costs are actually lower in Vietnam than China, which is, I mean, shipping costs are going up like 3 times in China versus like 2 times in Vietnam. But it's still, shipping costs are way too expensive right now. I hate it. Then also, I'm very exploring to the United States. There's no tariffs on Vietnamese goods, so you're going to have an instant 25% saving right there for the tariffs.
Yeah,
In a lot
I
of
think
product categories.
talking about like shipping costs also, I think one of the sellers over here is asking whether Vietnam manufacturers are familiar with the process of sending through Amazon FBA, because I think maybe if they purchase a particular good after
Yeah.
QC, they want to send it directly to US fulfillment center.
Yeah, I mean that's DDP shipping, which we we tend to do FOB, or free on board, which means that a factory is responsible for shipping to the port. And then we tend to, just from our experience, we work with the freight forwarders separately. And those freight forwarders do have experience shipping from Vietnamese port directly to the factories. But one thing too, like just with shipping, or it's not shipping, with FBA, I mean, you have requirements from the factories like barcodes and whatnot that need to be supplied. Well, we work factories all the time. The factories totally understand the whole Amazon process of, you know, how it needs to be packed, how the barcode needs to be displayed, and can do that. But I mean, yeah, you want to do DDP, you often can. That's not too, which DDP being ship it to directly from the factory to FBA warehouse. We just personally don't do it because when you're shopping around for your own freight forwarder, you get better savings on cost. And I think there's some trustworthy freight forwarders out there. I personally recommend going with a freight forwarder, but I understand if it's too complex, you can still do factory have to handle shipping, included in the cost.
Yeah, I think that is our last question for the day as well. Maybe also to conclude, like if you have anything regarding sourcing to Vietnam you're unsure of, feel free to reach out to Jim via his Facebook page or the email address, which I will send. Yeah, otherwise, we'll be sending the recording link as well as all the materials shared in the follow-up email. So all of you will have access to this on demand. If any question, feel free to just reach out to us via email or your account manager as well. If not, thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Jim, for being here and sharing all your insights and knowledge. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
It's a pleasure. I loved it. All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you.